This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred down at Fight Camp today. We just finished a press conference ahead of week 2 with me, promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, first and foremost, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm excited. A lot of pressure last week and I feel like it went really well. Feedback was tremendous. Great production, great work from the whole team, great card. And this Saturday as well, we got a really dramatic card. Great main event. For me, this is the fight of Fight Camp. Galahad against Dickens. Love it when two Brits go for a world title, and I'm really looking forward to another huge night on DAZN.
Let's start with the main event then, Eddie. Kid Galahad, Joshua-Dickens, the rematch, IBF Featherweight World title. Joshua-Dickens full of confidence when we spoke to him on Zoom earlier indeed. Kid Galahad came on and said he's just going to go in there and smash him. What do you think we're going to see?
Well, the first fight was brilliant. One of the fights of the year for the British title quite a while ago now. And I think he's going to see another great fight because it just means so much to both of them. They can't mess around. They can't scrape through this fight. They both have to go for it. Kid Galahad is, slippery and sometimes awkward, and Jazz has just got to win rounds. He's got to be energetic. He's got to force the pace in this fight, which is dangerous as well. But he's got no choice because he's got to grab this opportunity. He can have plenty down from Sheffield, plenty down from Liverpool. It's going to be a tremendous atmosphere, and so much on the line for the teams. Obviously, Kid Galahad very close with Dominic Ingle and the Ingle family. And then you got Georgie Vaughan and Derry Matthews with Jazza, and you got Bellew, who's going to be very unbiased in the presentation role on Saturday. I just love the fight, and with Lee Wood's win and Warrington Lara coming up and Jordan Gill, you've got a great little mix of British featherweights on DAZN.
I was about to say, there's been worse times to be a British featherweight. Is that an added incentive? Not only will the winner be world champion on Saturday night, but some huge nights ahead as well.
Huge fights, and not just domestically, but you talk about Leo Santa Cruz if he ever fights at 126, Gary Russell. And then, of course, the big domestic fight. So I think this is life-changing for both of them. And I know we say that a lot, but genuinely it was for Lee Wood last week. And the winner of this is going to go on and change his life.
Just a quick one on Lee Wood, because I don't think we actually caught you after the fight last week. I saw in the media those quotes from you the other day saying that you'd like him to be elevated to super champion. Leo Santa Cruz unlikely to defend that belt and hasn't for some time as well. Do you think that's likely?
I mean, when we were trying to make Kanzu against Josh Warrington, I was saying to the WBA, like, Leo Santa Cruz, he's not going to fight at 126 again. He went up to super featherweight to fight Gervonta Davis. I just can't see him coming back down to featherweight. It's been 2.5 years now, and yet he still holds that championship. They keep saying that he's going to defend it at 126. Listen, if he does, he's a great fighter. But I feel that I always felt that Kanzu should be super champion, and now with that victory, I believe Lee Wood should get that honour.
Just to come on the rest of the card, we had Fabio Wardley up here in very trivial mood as he always is at these press conferences. Really certain he's going to stop Nick Webb. He's told you not to bother paying for judges. Dangerous fight though.
Really dangerous fight and a great heavyweight fight. I mean, it's English heavyweight title, but I feel like there's a lot more on the line than that. I've got to say, I love Nick Webb's attitude right now. Scott Welch has been around boxing. He knows the division. They went in against Eric Pfeiffer. To be honest with you, Dillian White was working with Eric Pfeiffer. He sparred with him. He thought Nick Webb was an opponent. And, he said to Pfeiffer, go in and prove yourself. And Nick Webb absolutely demolished him. Fabio Wardley looks really sharp. He did get buzzed by Eric Molina before he went on to stop him. But he's full of confidence, and that's dangerous against Nick Webb. Nick Webb's just got that little air of confidence himself where he's the underdog but doesn't feel like the underdog. I think that's a really intriguing fight, and I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Alan Babbage came in here in typical colourful savage fashion, we'll say. He was full of confidence. He's spoken all week that he doesn't believe Mark Bennett is going to last very long in this fight. He told us he's going to throw 100 punches in the first round. Do you believe him?
I love the way that Mark Bennett spoke. I mean, calm. Was he 6'5", 19 stone? He won't be pushed back from Alan Babbage. And a lot of these fighters go to Shaundell Winters, Damian Chambers, even Niall Kennedy. They're small heavyweights that Babbage has got off the back foot and just unloaded on against the ropes. I don't think he'll be able to do that against Bennett. Bennett's a good fighter who's had a proper camp, and they think they're going to win. But doesn't everyone say that? I don't know what the fuss is about Alan Babbage. I don't see anything special. As Savage said, great rounds with Joe Joyce and giving it to him over 14, 16 rounds as a small heavyweight. I think Bennett against Savage is going to be a really good fight, and maybe Savage comes unstuck one of these days, or maybe he keeps demolishing people. One thing I do know is it's a lot of fun to watch.
Just to talk about the rest of the card, we've got Ebanie Bridges in there with Bet Connolly. Bet Connolly always comes to fight. Johnny Fisher in with Danny Whitaker as well, someone who's done the rounds at domestic level. What other fights should we be looking out for on this card?
Well, particularly the return of Ebanie Bridges. I mean, also Johnny Fisher, who's looked absolutely devastating. Only 2 heavyweight fights. Good test against Danny Whittaker. Before we go on air, of course, Akib Fiaz against Baldaspino on the live stream. Ebanie Bridges against Bet Connolly, good fight, because Bet Connolly takes fights at 1 week's, 2 weeks' notice. I think last fight was about nearly 130 pounds. This fight's at 119. She looks in great shape, super tough. I have to give props to Ebanie Bridges, because before the Shannon Courtney fight, I was worried, because I was worried how good she was. I was worried how serious she took the sport. You know, we just saw, you know, her doing her thing, and that's her own unique thing. But could she fight? She showed in the Shannon Courtney fight she can really fight, and she did it for 3 or 4 rounds with an eye which was horrific, and she didn't quit, and she kept going. And I think people give her respect for that. Since that fight, she's been here for I think 3 or 4 weeks. Then she went to Mexico for 2 or 3 weeks to train with Barbie Juarez. Then she's been in Philly in the gyms there, sparring and grafting with Callie Reese and Brian Cohen. So there's 2 sides to Ebanie Bridges. There's the show side, right, which is doing big numbers and you know, creating huge amounts of noise and interest. But there's the real fighter inside her as well. And I hope people can see the 2 sides, because, you know, the one side creates attention, but the other side is someone that loves the sport and puts the work in. And I expect a great fight with her and Bet Connolly.
On to Joshua-Usyk, Eddie, a sellout. Nerves kicking in yet?
They are actually, yeah, because I had 20 minutes with Tony Bellew earlier going through tactics, and you know, he knows how tough this fight is because he shared the ring with Alexander Usyk. Massive demand. You know, we sold out in 24 hours. We had over 50,000 people in the queue online to purchase tickets. You know, data shows could have sold over 200,000 tickets for that card. Nervous. I think people, just saying another interview, obviously when the Fury fight fell through, people would go, oh, okay, he's fighting Usyk, yeah, good fight. And then once you start seeing a poster and then actually thinking about the night and the fight itself, you start to realise how good this fight is. And it's a tremendous fight, and one that Anthony's really ready for.
You mentioned there was thousands and thousands of people queuing for tickets. A lot of people left disappointed. It feels like 2017 again. That you know, a lot of tickets were immediately appearing on secondary sites, and a lot of people were unable to get their tickets at the first come first served basis. Your comment on that? I'm sure you've had a lot of tweets about people complaining about these secondary markets scooping up tickets again.
Yeah, I think, you know, the secondary market is something that exists and something you see more of for the major events. A lot of those tickets that you see on a secondary market don't even exist, and one of the reasons that, at least with our relationship with StubHub, we know that those tickets on the secondary market are real because we can actually identify them. Someone sent me a link to some tickets, and it was a block that is not even for sale. It's for fighters and fighter families and stuff like that. They don't have tickets in there, and there was lists and lists of tickets. I do think in today's world, the secondary market can serve a good purpose, because you could get pinged. You know, you could have COVID, you could not have your vaccine if the government introduced that, which I don't think they will. I hate the fact that people are out there who buy a ticket and put it straight on, trying to profit from a resale. One, because, and we don't have any involvement, any profit with any resale at all. We sell tickets at face value. I could have put those prices up by double and probably sold out. Maybe that eradicates the secondary market. I don't know. But I think it can serve a purpose, but I do agree. I think it's, you know, I hate the fact that people go on, buy £100 ticket, put it up for $2,000, and, you know, ultimately it's dead money, because it's someone that, you know, and a lot of it actually is businesses that do that for a living. They buy all the football tickets, they buy all the Euro tickets, and that's how they operate. So good in some respects that we can control that element and know that you're not getting scammed or real, and I think there's a role to play for that secondary market. But I hate the fact that some people buy to sell. Do you know what I mean? And I think how we control that will continue to develop. But I hope that, and actually, when you look at the tickets available for resale, it's 2,000 and something out of 65,000 tickets. It's, you know, and it's not a huge amount, but some may be genuine, some aren't, and the ones that aren't, I hope you don't buy them.
Is there anything more that can be done between yourselves and StubHub to vet that then? Are you saying there's some tickets on there that aren't even authentic?
No, not on StubHub. They're authentic tickets because we can identify them as, you know, if someone can post a ticket that's been for sale and it's been bought through the StubHub system, you know it's a genuine ticket. On other sites, there'll be people saying, you know, buy 8 tickets in block so and so. They don't exist. They're not. It's impossible for that person to have them. So it's good that you can monitor that so people don't get scammed or ripped off for money. But at the same time, it has to serve a purpose in the right way, and that has to be worked on. It does allow us to have an element of control, But again, and whether that's a time limit of, because the worst thing to see is a secondary market a day after, because that there's a reason for that. So perhaps that's something we look at.
Any undercard news for Joshua-Usyk? We expect to see Lawrence Okoli, for example?
Yeah, I believe you'll see Lawrence. I mean, we're just finalising that. He'll defend his world title against his mandatory, Prasovic, I think 24-0. Callum Smith could be on that, making his £175 debut. Prodan against Marku, which is a really good fight, which was actually due here. Shannon Courtney's got to be rescheduled September or October, so we'll have a look at that, and 2 other fights as well. So just finalising that for an announcement next week.
Anthony Joshua hard at work in preparation for this fight. One notable absentee, though, because of the Olympics. Rob McCracken, is that a bit of a strange one, not having him there for a couple of weeks?
Not really. I mean, he's developed and built a great team of people now that obviously talk to Rob every day. AJ's been sparring. Rob will be back imminently. And they've still got, 7 weeks on Saturday. So, no, I don't think that plays a role in it. Rob is obviously the main man in the team. And he'll be there ready to get stuck in to the rest of the camp. And the crunch rounds of sparring.
Just a quick one on that. Well, I mentioned Rob McCracken and those at the Olympics. It's a record medal haul for Team GB post-war. 6 medals. We saw Galahad-Dickens this morning. He's going to be going for gold as well. Quick word on how they've all been performing out there. Unbelievable.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, anyone that's aware of the GB setup and the role that the facility at EIS provides, the job that Rob McCracken does, Lee Pullen, all of that team up there, just tremendous. And all the guys should be really proud. Male and female, Lauren Price and Carissa and Caroline Dubois, and then obviously the men, Galal, who's, we love the Yafai family and the tremendous family, I believe will win gold. Luke and Pat McCormack, tremendous, both unbelievable amateurs. Fraser Clark, a leader of men is what I called him. He really is, a great story as well. And Ben Whittaker, who, there was a lot of people commenting about his interview after. I loved it. He's a winner. Do you know what I mean? So, as long as there's never anything wrong with showing your emotions and being real. And his emotion was, I'm absolutely gutted and disgusted that I haven't won gold. And the reason he was is because he's a winner. And he went there to win. Now, I saw his post this morning, which was, okay, I've slept on it, and I'm really proud of this, and so he should be. But every situation, I saw Piers Morgan, wasn't it, saying silver and bronze are a disgrace, who wants to win them? Everyone's situation is different. If Usain Bolt went to the Olympics and won bronze, I would expect he would be absolutely disgusted with himself. Some people, to even make the Olympics, and it's an incredible achievement, and those people who took part in those games will always be Olympians. Not being funny, how many people can say that? You've got big, lumps like you and me floating around. We ain't ever going to go to the Olympics, are we? I'd give my right testicle to be an Olympian, wouldn't you? But that's because we're limited. We're not greats, are we? Well, I'm just presuming you'll go along with that. But do you understand what I mean? So if we got to the Olympics, wow, and we'd never medal, but to get there, what an achievement. But if you're a great and you want to win gold, there's nothing wrong with being disappointed with silver. As long as you've done your best, you can always be proud of yourself. So great team, great bunch of people, and now the fun begins because everyone's going to be trying to sign them. So we look forward to the meetings up there in my office and all these big offers that are going to be made all around the world. What a great time for these guys to be turning pro. Good luck to them.
How soon does that scramble start?
I think it's probably already started for some people. I mean, I've not had any conversations or negotiations with any amateur fighter, and I wouldn't do it until the time is right. People, they've been harassing people. I've had calls from 4 or 5 managers offering me the same fighter out of the Olympics. They don't even have them under contract. But this is the world of boxing, and all of those girls and boys have tremendous value. They also need a plan and a strategy and the right team of people to develop their career, and we'll have those conversations when the time is right.
Just a couple more from me, Eddie. Canelo-Bivol, how are talks progressing? I've seen this morning that's likely to be a catchweight. Where are we at?
We're running out of time, to be honest with you, and I think September the 18th is 6 weeks on Saturday, which is fine because he sells out instantly, and you want time to build the promotion. Bivol's been training now, waiting for the finalisation, but there'll come a point where he will say, enough's enough. So I really feel like that is this weekend, and I don't know what's going to happen. We're reviewing a number of offers with Sal and his team, and I'd like to try and get the fight over the line. for September the 18th, and we'll do all we can. It does slow down everything else in the world, not just for Matchroom, but for all people who are waiting to see what Canelo does on September the 18th. And we've got cards ready to go, although our Mexico show on August 20 will be put back a few weeks because also last night it went on the red list in Mexico, which has caused me absolute murders for fights next week because we have a few Mexican opponents coming over. Don't know what we're going to do there. But once we secure the Canelo date, we can build everything else. And also Dillian Whyte, because if Canelo goes, Dillian Whyte will go on his undercard, and if he doesn't go, then Dillian will go in September around that date. So he's a priority of ours to make sure we finalise his next move.
Something we haven't spoken to you about, a big fight announced for Liverpool. Smith Fowler, Liam Smith came on our channel on Zoom the day after the announcement. He was full of confidence. He said it's too soon for Fowler pretty much, that he's got so much experience over him. But Anthony Fowler flying under Shane McGuigan as well can only be a good fight. Great
fight. It's another fight we're going to have problems with the tickets because the phones have been going mad for, because when was the last time there was a big fight in Liverpool, and people want to get back to that environment and those great nights out. That is a great fight for Liverpool. You know, Liam Smith, been there, done it. World champion. Anthony Fowler, working so hard, improving so much, full of confidence, tough, hits very hard. Liam Smith, unbelievably confident. Massive respect to both, because Fowler wanted Cheeseman, he wanted Fitzgerald, and Liam Smith's a level above those guys. But he said, look, I'm 30 years old, I'm in my prime. He had good rounds here last week. I'm rolling the dice, and you should respect Fowler for that. You should respect Liam Smith, because if he loses, he's done. And if he loses, he won't be able to walk around Liverpool. That's why these fights are so great in cities like that, because there's so much on the line. There's always a little bit of history, and it always plays out. But we'll have a press conference in Liverpool next week. Tickets will go on sale at the end of next week. Building a massive card in Liverpool as well, some World Championship action. Probably going to put Cheeseman Williamson on there as well. Great little £154 match-up for the British title. So looking forward to a massive night on October 9th.
Eddie, I'm going to leave the final word to you. Fight camp week 2, we got heavyweight action, we got world title action. Tell people they should be tuning in Saturday night.
Well, I want to say thank you. Firstly, last week tremendous, and the numbers were great. I mean, the numbers were much higher than the live viewing figures than our last Sky show, which was a big move for us, and obviously want to maintain those levels. Keep pushing subscribers, keep giving you value for money. If you watched last week and you didn't get value for money, then I think you're absolutely lying through your teeth. The feedback for the production, brilliant. Keep that coming. We want to keep improving. Great fight card this Saturday from Fight Camp. Tune in. So thank you very much.
Eddie, thank you as always.